Let's just start. We gonna freestyle a little bit. What's good? What's good? Gotta wake up. Let's wake up. Come on, y'all. Let's wake up. Okay. Okay. Shout out to Sonic R. I ain't never played this game, but I heard the music fire. Here we go. Here we go. Let's wake up. Let's wake up. Let's wake up. Let's wake up. Here we go, y'all. Here we go, y'all. Here we go, y'all. Slow it down, slow it down. Hey, living in the city, living in the city. It's living in the city. It's your boy Fattacheenie. You see me on that Fattacheenie TV. Do you see me? I see you. What you tryna do? Tryna roll with me? I got the boys in blue like Sonic. Baby girl, I'm hypersonic. Everybody wanna see me. Everybody wanna be me. Give this video a like if you rockin' Fattacheenie. I be rockin' Reebok, and you know I don't stop. I be rockin' it all the day, cause you know I'm at the top. My videos be climbing, you know I keep rhyming, you know I play Simon. Everybody keep the vibing. I don't know what that means, I don't know what I said, but I gotta keep it going, cause I gotta keep flowing. Okay, here we go now. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Cool, slow it down. Keep it smooth. Keep it sexy. Baby girl, give this video a like. 1, 2, 3, go! In the sun. Alright, I'm done. Whoever this is, Nujiku. I'm a little sick, y'all. Nujiku. Give this boy a subscribe. Give this video a like. I don't know how I found this. If we keep doing these reaction videos, excuse me, there's a fly. If we keep doing these reaction videos, I'll just put y'all on to some random YouTubers that I be listening to. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Fattacheenie TV, Fattacheenie Reacts. My boy Davis Iota, why Iota? He literally just commented back. Let's look. Let's see. I just got a notification. Just commented back. My boy Davis, I said the video hit 20 likes. I don't know why y'all rock with this reaction video more than you rock with the whole series of Elden Ring. And that's probably the most successful series I have on my channel so far. If you have not watched it already, please go through the playlist. It's pretty good. It's entertaining. Put some hard work into it. Played for it, very long time. But we're gonna make another reaction video. We're gonna react to another thing. My boy Davis Iota, why Iota? He said react to the Elden Ring. I'm sick, y'all, I'm sorry. The Elden Ring bosses lore. So we gonna go with that. And hopefully y'all enjoy. Here we go. We going back to my boy Vidi Vici. Vada Vidia. Whatever he do, we gonna watch his video. Wait, I don't know which one to watch. So we watched this one, we watched the lore. You can't see my mouse. I have that on OBS where you take it off. I probably should turn it back on. Maybe we should watch the Demigods explain? I don't know. I don't really care about the Demigods because that's all the kids or the parents that be getting it on.
Oh no.
Let's go with Lore of the Bosses. Let's go with that. Okay.
Many of Elden Ring's bosses serve America's Golden Order in some shape or form, whether they're loyal to it or enslaved by it. So let's discuss all of these bosses, starting at a time before Order had even come to the lands between. To the north are mountaintops of the Giants, a name that makes it abundantly clear just who dominated this region of the world. However, it was not always this way. According to the Borealis' mist incantation, the ice dragons were once lords of the mountaintops long ago, until they were defeated by the fire giants and chased from the peak. And perched upon this peak stands an enormous forge, Interestingly, the chain rings of this forge depict dragons, which might be a reference to the dragons that once dwelt here, and while I don't think we can say for sure who built this forge, the art of smithing is said to have originated among the giants, and the craft was...
That's kind of fire, my boy. What's the blacksmith? He is kind of big too. He's Blythe's friend. I forgot his name. Aoichi? Now I'm thinking of some anime names. Hold on. No, but you know who I'm talking about. That big man. He kind of big, so that makes sense. Here we go.
Was even once considered divine. So it seems likely that at the very least, they made good use of this fire. Sparks from this forge would fall down and fertilize the smoldering flowers that bloomed upon the mountaintops, and it seems like it was a pretty crucial part of life in this region. The most ancient giants here were called fire giants, and according to the Burn o' Flame incantation, they have long held a solitary curse to serve as keepers of the flame for eternity.
I never used
Now, traditionally in From Software games, curses are the domain of the gods, and indeed, the fire giants are cited to have borrowed power from one such god, who is represented here by a single large red eye.
Sharingan. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3. He got a Sharingan, y'all.
Mangekyo Sharingan.
He got the Mengaku. Oh my gosh, what is happening? What is up? Just run!
God is called a god of the flame, and it's believed to be able to inhabit fire itself, as well as the bodies of the fire giants who worshipped it. The giants shared borders with the astrologers, who, according to their legendary Sword of Night and Flame, established themselves in the mountaintops and considered the fire giants their neighbors. The relationship here is implied to be friendly, even collaborative, maybe, as the sword does combine the power of both flame and the power of the primeval current that's glimpsed within the night sky. The sword would go on to become a treasure of the Carrion royal family, and the Carrions themselves are likely descendants of the astrologers. Generations later, these Carrion royals would call upon their old giant allies for aid, but we'll get to that in a moment. The fire giants also had another neighbor, with whom relations were not so amicable. Further down the mountains, just past the forbidden lands, roamed the Knights of Zamor. According to their armor, these long-lived warriors, clad in biting, freezing winds, are said to have been the mortal enemies of the fire giants since time immemorial. According to their weaponry, these beings were devoted to winter itself and had weapons styled after icy winds and bodies that were cloaked in swirling ice storms. It makes good sense that such cold beings would be natural mortal enemies of the fire giants, and they commonly did challenge their larger rivals. But it seems like their true chance came when Queen Marika waged war against the fire giants, and the Knights of Zamor gladly joined her offensive. They earned great renown amongst the Order of the Erd Tree, and many ancient heroes of Zamor became hailed as heroes, as the fire giants were largely wiped from the face of the earth after this war. Now, up until now, I've resisted calling the giants evil, but the reality is that in pretty much every item description, their god is described as a fell god, and the giant's flame is a flame of ruin. And to be fair, their god doesn't seem like a super nice guy. I mean, it only really opens its eye when the fire giant boss sacrifices a leg, which is pretty metal. But I'm sort of giving them the benefit of the doubt because I think it's pretty clear.
Somebody hit him with that. The heavy roll. The in and out cross behind the back.
Yeah, by the way, he about to dance behind the ugly. Tween, cross. Step back, knock down. Oh, nah, woke it up.
Who's writing the history about this fell god here? The many mentions of this god as evil clearly come about because Fire itself was just this extremely taboo topic during Marika's Age of the Erd Tree. And it's not just Giant's Flame items that mention this. Fire in general was prohibited to those who served the Erd Tree, which was a pretty smart defensive measure, especially considering that many rival outer gods also have a flame of their own. The Formless Mother has Blood Flame, the Three Fingers have Frenzied Flame, the outer god of Death has Ghost Flame, but Giant's Flame in particular was capable of burning the Erd Tree, and that is a fact that clearly inspired the inevitable war with the Giants.
Okay.
So the Giants were deemed mortal enemies of the Erd Tree, and they allegedly desolated nature, triggered avalanches, and whipped up storms of flame with their roars. Clearly those who served the Erd Tree were afraid, and perhaps rightfully so. And so, led by Lord Godfrey, the forces of the Erd Tree went to war. The Fire Giants borrowed from the power of the Fell God to fight against the Erd Tree, but were defeated nonetheless. According to the Burn of Flame incantation, this
Elden
released the Fire Giants from their curse to serve as keepers of the flame, all except one, who the Fell God still hides within. And upon realizing that the Giant's flame would never die, Marika left this last giant alive, knowing it was bound to protect the flame for all eternity, and thus leaving it cursed. Cursed to protect the flame from someone like us.
Like me.
In addition to the
Fattacheenie,
Knights of
baby.
Zamor, many lesser giants were also roped into the war against the Fire Giants. These lesser giants are called trolls, and are confirmed to be a race that is descended from the giants. This relationship is clearer at the mountaintops, where the trolls here still cast Giant's Flame incantations. Troll hammers were even once used as ancient ceremonial smithing tools. Thus, it seems evident that the trolls and the Fire Giants coexisted for a time, and then fell further and further apart. Because while some trolls are assumedly still Fire Giants at heart, many now are not. In fact, at the heart of most trolls is nothing. There's this suspicious hollow here, almost as if something has been ripped out of their torso. And when you consider what's upon the torso of the last remaining Fire Giant, the truth becomes pretty clear, right? Every single troll is now missing that giant eye of their outer god. And if you manage to look really closely here at a troll, we realize that in its place is this strange stone tablet that is held in place by what look like roots. As pointed out by Quelaag, these rooted tablets are very reminiscent of the rooted shackles that were created to bind the Omen twins, Mohg and Morgoth, which might suggest that the trolls are also being shackled or suppressed by Marika in some way. This is just speculation, of course, but Marika does have this suspicious set of stone tablets in her chambers, and I think it's a good theory, for sure. A sword gravestone in the mountaintops elaborates further on the trolls' role in the War of the Giants. Here, champions battled, and allegedly, the trolls betrayed. But what was the nature of this betrayal? Did these lesser giants resent their larger kin? Or did Marika force this betrayal in some way with the stone shackles? I think that's largely up to you guys. But whatever the case, nowadays the trolls are said to have lost their minds and are inseparable from the weight of their rusty swords, which have long since lost any trace of gold. So whether they carry coffins or mine down at the bedrock of the earth, their sad state brings to mind enslavement now, more than anything else. That said, some trolls do seem to have a little bit more dignity, and these are the ones that fought against the Erd Tree later on. These were the enchanted troll knights, deemed comrades of the young Rennala. And they were called into service when the queen invoked an oath that they swore long ago. As mentioned earlier, the trolls go way back to when the Fire Giants and the astrologers were still neighbors. And back then, it seems, for whatever reason, they swore an oath to the astrologers. And later, when the Carians went to war against the Erd Tree, I assume, the trolls were finally called into that service to be treated as true knights of Caria, wielding swords embedded with blue glintstone and summoning enormous glint blades. They fought arm in arm with their long-lost human comrades. Iji is another such example of
There we
that
go,
relationship,
Iji.
by the
What
way.
did I say?
He became the Carrion family's royal blacksmith, and unlike the stone digger trolls, he actually uses that weapon for its intended purpose, as a blacksmith's hammer, and now he serves the Lady Rani, who he's known ever since her childhood. Next, I want to talk about the Knights Cavalry. These recurring bosses wander.
Bruh.
But we will keep on going.
The dim roads at night, and were once led by the Fell Omen. Now, this description specifically references Margit's title as the Fell Omen, not Morgoth's title as the Omen King, and I think this is important because Margit represents this undercover extension of Morgoth, who scouts further out in the world and takes out champions who approach all the way from Stormvale Castle. Morgoth's big role in the story is that he's a stout defender of the Erdtree who wouldn't dare betray the Golden Order. He calls all the other demigods willful traitors all, simply for fighting over the great runes of the Elden Ring. Even Radahn, who has a lot of signs of being quite loyal to the Golden Order, is called a traitor, simply because he fights at one stage another character who has a great rune. You can even see Morgoth in one of these opening cutscene cinematics leaping onto what looks like Radahn, and managing to even get an attack off on one of the mightiest of the demigods. Actually, a channel named Smotown has a really good little video discussing whether this is indeed Radahn, and I'd highly recommend you go and check that out.
Okay.
Anyway, my point is, the Knights Cavalry seem to fulfill a similar role to Margit. According to their armor, they were deliverers of death for great warriors, knights, and champions. Simple as that. No motive is listed, except that they have a reputation for taking out the greatest warriors of the world. And that makes sense that that would be their aim, because only the strongest can acquire two great runes and approach the Erdtree, so it's almost as if strength itself must be stifled so that Morgoth's failing order might be maintained. As for why Margit defends Stormvale, I like to think that he's fighting here because he recognizes that Godric is the weakest of the demigods, who yet remains, so he's bolstering his strength in that sense and trying to maintain this unsteady stalemate.
Okay, that makes sense.
Having a strong defense is essentially the guiding principle of those who serve the Erdtree, especially as you get closer to the capital. There are numerous examples of this. The soldiers of Leyndell fight their battles defensively. The Knights of Leyndell always put their shield before the sword, and Leyndell itself, the city, is built to withstand siege, with layers and layers of defensive measures built in. And the protective standard to which all defenders of the Erdtree aspire is that of the Tree Sentinels, whose order became the living rampart of the Erdtree.
Get them, dogs! Ah! Oh! Okay, Juice is already dead. All right. Come on, the last dog. Fight him, Fido. Okay, all right, we got this here. Woo! Dodge! Ah! Sacred energy. Ah! Okay. This is not good. Dodge! Oh, Lord! Yeah.
Tree, embellished with golden tree-crested armor and shields that can retaliate with bolts of light. They turn defense into offense. And that's the idea in Leyndell. Defense is the best offense. And the way this idea is presented is just such beautiful storytelling. So many characters in other areas of the lands between long to return to the blessed land of the Erdtree, and even for you, it's this goal that looms over you the entire game. Yeah. So the path is designed to repel everyone getting close. You know, the highway through Leonia has fallen apart, so you need to take this secret, waterlogged route up through the mountain. This was my favorite part of the game, by the way, finding this secret path through the mountains and infiltrating the Altus Plateau. And then when you finally get there, there are countless ballista and golem archers, and they're all positioned facing outwards. And finally, you even find a side entrance to Leyndell, and that is even guarded by a tree sentinel. And it's not just any tree sentinel. This one is actually a draconic tree sentinel, which is kind of different. This variant of sentinels arose after the ancient dragons attacked Leyndell in its history, and we talk more about this event in the video about the demigods, but in the end, the ancient dragons were befriended, and worship of the ancient dragons was deemed acceptable, alongside belief in the Erd Tree. Dragons were conjoined with the Golden Order, so to speak, and the dragon cultists took after them in a physical fashion. Also instrumental to the rise of the Erd Tree were the Crucible Knights. They were eventually scorned for their strength, for their appearance, and for their close resemblance to Chaos, and how that inspired who they originally were. 16 of these knights served Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, and all 16 of them yet remain across the lands between. One is imprisoned in an Everjail, 2 appear to be dead and are summoned to fight you as spirits. A number of Crucible Knights still patrol Leyndell, some protect Great Tree roots, though most just stand dejected in lost corners of the earth, and one of them has even found a new blasphemous master. So the next time you fight these, think carefully about where they are and who they're fighting with, because each knight is a distinct character with purpose or lack thereof.
Let me stop
even
right
though
here. Bro, I wish I could have watched all these videos and then played the game. I feel like it would have made it way more enjoyable because I would have had a deeper appreciation for everything. Right now, I'm like, I want to play the game again, and maybe this is why y'all want me to make these reaction videos, because y'all want me to play the game again. I'm not playing the game again for a while. I need a break. That took a lot out of my soul, out of my life. But these videos, why order? I see you, bro. I see you.
Though they were all once united by a common purpose and a single lord. Many of these knights fight with different aspects of the Crucible. Some fight with wings, some with horns, fire, and tail, but what they all have in common is their mastery of their Lord Godfrey's signature stomp attack, which breaks up the earth beneath their feet. This is such a cool homage to Godfrey. You know, knowing the lore is great. It definitely makes dying to it feel a little bit better, right? Anyway, I think it's important to remember that Godfrey and his Crucible Knights existed in an age before the Erd Trees, an age with the Great Tree in its primordial form, back when there was this red-tinted crucible of life, and these were warriors who drew power from its chaos. Eventually, however, they were brought on board with order, which is best exemplified by Godfrey being tamed by the Beast Regent upon his back. There are 2 types of ornamentation that the Crucible Knights can have. There's axe ornamentation, which is worn by Crucible Knight Ordovus and his men, and I think the axe is a bit of a homage to Godfrey again. And then there are some knights that have Great Tree ornamentation, and these are displayed by the Knight Siluria and her men, which is of course a reference to the Great Tree itself. And I'd like to quickly talk about the Great Tree. In one of my first lore videos, I proposed that there was a Great Tree that must have existed before the Erd Tree, and that the Erd Tree might have even replaced this Great Tree. This was based on the English root resin item description, which has the word Great Tree capitalized and as one word, which certainly makes you think that it's a distinct tree, right? The line is, "The roots of the Great Tree once linked to those of the Erd Tree," which is a line that seems to clearly set up that these are 2 separate trees. Except the Japanese translation doesn't say that. The Japanese translation says, "These roots are said to have once been connected to the Golden Tree." It does mention the Great Tree earlier, but it seems to just be referencing the Erd Tree as that Great Tree, because it is a really big tree. Some people have taken this to mean that there was no Great Tree before the Erd Tree, and you know, while that's certainly possible, I do think it's still fair to argue that a Great Tree existed before the Erd Tree. For one, many of the Crucible Knight items reference a primordial form of the Erd Tree, and they have ornamentation and history that is based on this primordial holiness that is not the holiness of the Erd Tree. So calling it a Great Tree might just be referencing that tree. And secondly, Siluria defends a giant tree in the deep root depths. It's one that has this hollowed out entrance that is reminiscent of the entrance at the Erd Tree as well, so maybe there's something here. I just kind of wanted to set that straight for now. But the reality is that we don't really know for sure, and hopefully DLC will shed a light on some of these past ages of the world, which seems to be a common trend with From Software DLC, and there just really are so many remnants of previous ages in this game, and I'd love to see a little bit more about what their cultures really were like. It kind of makes you resent just how all-encompassing the Erd Tree became. So many of these cultures have been lost, and I guess that's how a lot of characters in-game feel as well. They feel upset by that, and knowing this fact helps you understand why so many of these characters are okay with burning down the Erd Tree. They're totally fine with that. And this brings us to our next boss, because in the act of burning down the Erd Tree, you release a slew of ulcerated tree spirits from it. These spirits lie suffering beneath the ash until you come along. But of course you fight many of these tree spirits across the lands between, even before the end game. There's an ulcerated tree spirit at the husk of this minor Erd Tree, there's a bunch in catacomb dungeons by great tree roots, there's even one at the husk of the Halig Tree. There's a lot of these. Some might even say there's too many of these bosses. I think they're the worst boss in Elden Ring. But anyway, understanding their lore might make it a bit more palatable. So, while these creatures fight near the trees, I don't think they're defending them. Rather, I kind of think they're this corrupted byproduct of dead or dying trees. We know that one of the new purposes of the Erd Tree is to accept spirits and allow them to live on, and it's almost like these ulcerated spirits are this horrific failure of that process. One of Miyazaki's favorite themes in these games is the idea that life is not supposed to be eternal, and I think these spirits are a physical manifestation of stagnation and decay. They're this product of an age of an Erd Tree that really should have ended a long time ago. Most tree spirits drop golden seeds, which are also found at the base of smaller illusory trees, and they read, "When the Elden Ring was shattered, these seeds flew from the Erd Tree, scattering across the various lands, as if life itself knew that its end had come." A talisman also goes on to say, "The Erd Tree was once perfect and eternal, and thus it was believed that Erd Tree seeds could not exist. This was back when there was an age of plenty, when blessings literally dripped from the boughs of the Erd Tree like sap. And the Erd Tree's warm light healed those who bathed in its rays. The Erd Tree flourished with abundance, yet it was only for a fleeting moment. Such is the course of all life." Then the leaves began to fall, and as you know from the introduction and the endings, the fallen leaves tell a story. The story is that the Erd Tree was withering. Scattered across the lands between are minor Erd Trees, where you go to collect crystal tears. Basins were placed at the feet of minor Erd Trees in order to collect these tears. Though, in some cases, these tears are dropped by Erd Tree avatars instead. When the Elden Ring was shattered, the avatars emerged, wielding ceremonial staffs that depict the Erd Tree in its historic radiance. These creatures are the will of the dying Erd Tree, made manifest, I think. They are literally part tree, after all, and they fight desperately to protect the minor Erd Trees, which are the offspring of the withering Erd Tree itself. Some avatars placed in Caelid and Miquella's Halig Tree are rotten avatars, and they even have this uniquely designed staff that festers with rot, just as they do. Remember, the Halig Tree is also an emulation of the Erd Tree, so it makes sense that it has its own avatars as well.
That's what you were talking about.
And they fight on, because to many of these creatures, any Erd Tree, whether it's minor or a copy or doomed, is something worth protecting. So, if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, then chances are you love this kind of long-form content, so an Audible subscription might also be just right for you. Sign up at audible.com/VartyVidya or text VartyVidya to 500 and you'll get a free credit for the first month and then again for every paid month thereafter. But this time, I'd recommend you spend that credit on The Sandman, which might be just one of the most unique audiobooks that you've ever listened to. It has its own cast of voice actors, including the author.
I don't have a mouse right now, so I can't do nothing. But VartyVidya, brother, we appreciate you once again. So VartyVidya, thank you so much. We gonna make the same goal, 20 likes again. That one, I might have picked the wrong the wrong video, to be honest. I probably should have done this one. The demigods, the lore explained for this one. But I probably should have done this joint. If you want me to react to this video, you know what you gotta do, another 20 likes. I gotta know if this is the direction of where I wanna go with the channel. Now, I ain't saying I'm gonna stop playing video games, because they ain't never gonna stop. Shout out to Diddy. But when Diddy be wanting something, you gotta say no.
Hey, because P. Diddy be wanting the body, and you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no.
Shout out to Cat Williams. But listen, we ain't doing none of that over here. Ain't doing none of that over here.
We don't do that here. We don't do that. I'm sorry, my brother. This is not a rainbow gang. This is not a rainbow thing. This is not a rainbow gang. This is not a rainbow bang, my brother.
Buy the video, thank you. Get that boy a subscriber, a like on his videos. If you want me to keep going through the whole lore joint, I'll watch all of these if you keep giving 20 likes. But you know what you gotta do? Give this video a like, subscribe to Fattacheenie TV, and honestly, while you're waiting for me to react to more of these videos, watch me beat Elden Ring. Watch me go through the whole joint. I think there's like almost 16 episodes. They're long form content. Put them on in the background. I'm talking too much. Why I oughta, thank you again. Boy left 19 something comments on it. You probably gonna leave 19 more to keep the videos going. Whatever you doing, it's working, bro. So shout out to you, Davis Iota. Subscribe to Fattacheenie TV. I hope you have a blessed one. I'll see you on the next one. Later.